All right, tell us about your armor.
Wow, where to start, right? What should I just go through and
Well,
kind of describe what I did and things like that?
You walked 1,000 miles, 25 to 40 miles a day. So what modifications did you have to make?
Well, first I had to enable my armor to withstand my walking as far as my movements. You know, that was the important part of the feet, the knees, and at the thigh area, so I can at least have no restriction for normal walking kind of movements here. So first thing, we're going to start from the ground up, really. The first case in point would be the shin armor on the top side. And it's kind of, I guess, hard to do a comparison possibly without having something that's been, say, untrimmed. But I would think to most people who are familiar with how the shin armor looks on the back side can see that there really isn't much of a difference from normal shin armor as far as what's been taken away. So the shin armor really is pretty much standard to what you get right out of the box, you know, when you put your kit together. The one thing I would say is a takeaway would be more maybe of down around the ankle area, to maybe shape that so it's more comfortable and you don't have the cuts and the pinches from that. So more of a takeaway from the bottom than say up near the top, and it still maintains the aesthetic shape of if we say with a centurion standard, I guess, cut to the shin armor. Significantly, in that you're affecting both sides of the armor would be the thigh piece. Because as with the thigh piece, the key for mobility is the space between the cod and the top of the thigh piece and the bottom of the thigh piece in relation to the top of the shin armor. So you have two areas that you can work with on the thigh piece. You can trim off the top, keeping the angles uniform to the shape of the top of the armor, opposed to, say, just going straight across or something like that. So again, it's a little bit difficult because I don't have a comparison to what an untrimmed kit would look like, but you can take from the top edge here, because this is what you don't want happening, is this bunching up here with the belt or underneath. But you can minimize that by taking some from the top, both thigh pieces, and keeping them uniform, so when they go side by side, they're pretty much the same as far as the cut line of the inside thigh piece. And then as far as the back side, where you don't take a big half-moon chunk out of the top, I kept it right within the line of the bottom trim, so I didn't eliminate that at all. There's just a little bit there, but at least I didn't eliminate all of it. And just as far as the pinching on the butt side with the butt armor, you can also work with the back side of the thigh armor. I'm not a big fan of going to town on taking away the back side of the armor. I like to leave this as true as I can, maybe just working with getting some of those sharper edges away from the butt piece, but for the most part, you're taking away from the bottom of the thigh piece. And that gives you your ability to bend the knees, whereas with the shin armor is going to give you space to, say, increase your ability to walk up curbs and maybe some steps. But it depends on how much that you need to take away in your size, because the shorter folks might have to take more away in order to clear curbs and steps. But that's going to happen by clearing the way here. That's going to give you the ability for your leg to come up. And I can show something when I have the armor on, so to demonstrate the clearance that I have and the range that I have to work with. So there's the thigh pieces. On the butt piece here, to minimize what's going on between your legs as far as being uncomfortable with pinches and stuff, I found that if I took the tail off here a little bit, that was just enough to help that area out, because you certainly don't want to be feeling those pinches there. Now for me, because I had a variety of different types of gaits, you know, I'm going uphill, downhill, walking, stepping. When I was in a full hill climb, there were areas that came into play that normally wouldn't be there, and I found that this was one of them, was the tail piece of the butt armor. So I found by taking that down, that really eliminated the discomfort that I had going up hills. Then with the cod pieces is actually the key piece of the armor that holds you back from, excuse me, from holding back from sitting down, whether it's sitting on a chair, sitting in a car. If you can work with the cod piece and realign the cod, you're going to find you're going to be able to sit and even putting armor on, you're going to have more room where you can actually bend down and put your shin armor on after it's all been assembled, which is nice too, because then you can pretty much get dressed on your own rather than having to have somebody help you with your shin armor. And plus too, for me, I can also bend down far enough where I can tie a tennis shoe, which was important as well. So what I did with the cod piece is I needed to be able to adjust it according to my comfort zone with the walking. So I separated the cod piece from the ab, and all I did then to keep it where I could adjust it, it's just taped inside. I just used duct tape to hold it in place, and then I could adjust it up or down. Is the key part of that, because if you bring it up high enough, you can sit in a pretty normal manner, because your thigh pieces aren't going to be getting in the way of the cod and vice versa. You can always also use a number of different ways to attach it if you want to attach it opposed to just taping it. I taped it just because my attachments weren't holding because of just the amount of stress I was putting on my armor day in and day out. So taping it was just easier to go with. But after my walk, I think what I'm going to do is I can give a much more detailed description or tutorial on what I did, because I can compare it with armor that's unaltered, and it gives a much better visual. But that's pretty much what I had to do to change up my armor in order to make it comfortable enough for me to wear. And plus, also, most importantly, I could put the armor on and off by myself. I didn't need to have help. So that's about it for the walking and sitting, and that sort of sums up quickly with what I did.